You're good? You're good?
Yep.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's John.
John, Charlie.
Charlie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So where are we right now?
So right now we're at the top of it's like Dog Valley area. This is the start of Henness Pass. That used to be like an old mining town road where you'd be able to come from San Francisco all the way to Reno. This was the main thoroughway they would use.
Okay.
Oh, okay, you're good. Sorry.
Okay, and we just walked up the hill. So we are pooped. And where are you from?
I'm from Reno initially, but I mean I grew up in South Lake Tahoe and Placerville. So Northern California's been my hometown for a while.
Okay. And when you were growing up, what was the new technology in your household you had access to?
We had dial-up internet. So I
Dial-up
mean,
internet.
we pretty much, when I was growing up, I think it was maybe in high school we finally got cable. But growing up all the way just from kindergarten, middle school, always dial-up internet. We had an antenna for TV, no cable TV, purely just dial-up.
And were you playing video games?
I mean, I had a Nintendo 64.
But not
and
yeah.
that was really just about it. I had a Game Boy Color as well, but that was about all that I had when I was in high school. Then I got into Xbox and then just started slowly getting a little more into some of the electronics.
Okay. So you weren't using the internet that much when you had dial-up?
Not really, no.
Any other technology that you can think of that was not really?
I think it was maybe in high school I got my first cell phone. It was like, yeah, the slider phone.
Uh-huh.
And then that was pretty much, again, introduction to like now actually be able to call people away from the house.
Okay. So broadly, how do you feel about technological progress?
Like for myself or like as a whole?
Both for yourself and for society. Like, is it a positive or negative?
I think there's a lot of positives to the technology that we have today. I think it's pretty incredible that at the push of a button, I can call my parents or call anyone wherever I want to be. Like I could call my work from out here in the middle of nowhere if I need to get called in for anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the benefits, but I also think that there's some disadvantages. I think social media has become kind of a big part of that.
Okay.
And then people just are more attached to their phone and not as in depth with their like actual connection with their friends.
Okay. Yeah. So social media specifically, what do you use AI?
I do not use AI. No, sorry, I take that back. I do use AI. So I work in the healthcare field.
Okay.
Every now and then I will use AI if I need to have like quick access to some question that someone asks me, and it does give me at least a starting point of where to go on how to get the right answer.
Okay. What do you use, like ChatGPT?
I use Google AI.
Google AI?
Yeah,
Like Gemini, or you just use the AI that pops up on Google?
AI that pops up on Google.
Okay. And you'll like read that sometimes?
I'll read it quickly just to get a base idea, and then from there I'll kind of like do like a deeper dive, but it gives me just a starting point of what background I need to have to answer the question.
And do you think AI itself, like LLMs, are going to be a positive or negative thing for humanity?
I think there are positives.
Uh-huh.
I also think there are negatives. Some of the positives, so I work as a nurse.
Yeah.
Some of the positives that I think can come from AI is that, for instance, if you're trying to quickly look up drug-to-drug interactions,
Okay.
AI can quickly pull information
It's
to
just-
be able to tell you
Gives you the info you need really fast.
really quickly.
Yeah.
However, one of the disadvantages to it, I do see coming soon, doctors going without a job. Like, for
Okay.
instance, not surgeons, but specifically primary care physicians. I see them losing a job because they're more just using their brains, not as often as their hands.
And you think diagnostics is going to be, what about like the person-to-person touch? How much do you think humans actually value that in the healthcare industry?
Well, it really is valued, but the problem is a lot of doctors, whenever they go to med school, sometimes they don't learn bedside manner.
And like nurses would be better at that anyway.
Nurses are better at bedside manner, and I think ChatGPT excels in the sense, not ChatGPT, but AI
Mm-hmm.
excels that they can have an access to everything, and yeah, it's fine. They can have an access to everything, including bedside manner and the knowledge behind what they need to give to the patients.
So you think maybe the future of healthcare is going to be more like more nurses, less doctors, more AI on the diagnostic side?
I'm not sure if it's going to be more nurses. I do think that eventually doctors will become less prominent in healthcare.
Yeah, like most people will always go to AI first for diagnostics.
I think so, yeah. And then
Yeah.
also on the flip side as well, so I can speak from personal experience, one of my primary care doctors, she's having multiple arguments with her patients now that are going to AI and researching their own diagnoses, which is good, but now it's becoming more of a I'm right, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost becoming a little bit more of a dividing line in the sand between healthcare workers and their patients.
Yeah, especially if they're not as like pro AI.
Yeah, exactly.
So that specific reason we're biking around, but we can get into a lot of different questions about AI that we like, is to talk about the like extinction of the human race from
Mhm.
AI. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about this. I don't think it's. I feel like it's kind of becoming more. I think I've heard it more in a joke sense, where people are more taking lighthearted to it. I do, but it is circulating just among like some things that I follow.
Okay. And what do you think about this? Do you think it's possible? Very unlikely?
I think it's. I don't want to rule it out. I mean, I come from a science background, so anything is possible. I
But
don't.
just in an anything is possible way, or more like a there's some path you could see.
There's a. I think right now it's more in its infancy. So wait for these guys to pass. I think right now with AI, it's more in its infancy. I think it's a little too early to say whether or not the human race will become extinct from AI.
Okay.
If it could be possible, yes, but I think right now it's almost too early to tell.
Let's take a step back from there. Do you think you're smarter than the current smartest AI
Oh,
models?
absolutely not.
Okay. Like pretty much across the board, math, science,
Yeah.
English.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think makes humans the most powerful race on Earth? Do you think that, or species on Earth? Do you think we are the most powerful species on Earth?
That's a good question, actually. I wouldn't. I would say we're the most powerful, but I wouldn't. But oh, that's a good one. We're the most. I would say we're the most. We're the most destructive. I wouldn't say we're the most powerful.
Okay. Which species do you think? I guess what do you want me to kind of talk more about?
Yeah,
what I
absolutely.
mean by power.
Yeah.
I guess like, let's say you want to terraform, ability to enact goals. So you want to terraform some part of Earth,
Okay.
or you want to destroy a specific species, or move things around, things like this. Do you think there's, and then another version would be just survive,
Mhm.
which I think probably that's one where we don't have like bacteria beat,
Yeah.
or because these things are definitely going to survive long past us probably. But for the other ones, would you agree, kind of ability to enact specific goals that humans have are the top species?
I would agree with that. If we're talking about terraforming and the ability to create and destroy, I would say humans are they would probably be the most powerful.
And why do you think that is?
I think because one, we have the ability to extrapolate. A lot of animals and species that we know of right now don't have that ability.
Yeah.
So I think we can think in longer terms, and we can have the ability to pretty much just have creativity.
Yeah, creativity, long-term planning, intelligence,
Mhm.
coordination, population.
Yeah.
These things all sound useful.
They're useful. Yeah,
Like,
I think
are there other things that I missed there?
no, those are all useful things to especially like progress a species. That's definitely all useful things.
Do you think which of those things do you think AI won't have us beat 10 years from now?
Can you repeat those ones that like
So coordination, let's say ability to learn,
Creativity was a big one.
creativity, long-term planning, population, raw intelligence.
I would say humans have AI beat in creativity.
Creativity, you think we'll have AI beating creativity in 10 years?
I think so. I think that one thing that makes humans unique compared to AI is the ability to be creative. And like, I mean, going away from the intelligence, or not the intelligence, but I guess more of the terraforming, I think more humans have the ability to create art that AI is not able to do so.
Okay, you think humans can, is that what you mean by creativity? Art and music? I feel like those aren't necessarily directly related to power, but before we get into that,
Mhm.
you think that humans can make better art than AI,
I think humans can make better art than AI.
and that will continue into the indefinite future.
I think that can continue.
Is your definition of art linked to like the story, or is it, can you judge a painting just based on the painting, seeing nothing else?
I would say probably it's more of the story.
Okay.
I think it really comes down to more between AI and humans. I think human intuition is going to be the one thing that AI will never be able to recreate.
But you're saying it's the story, which is different than the, like, I guess, are you, when you see this painting, right?
Mhm.
Like, walk me through. Like, we
Oh,
both
yeah,
walk
okay.
into an art museum, and we both look at this painting. Well, first we don't see the story,
Mhm.
or like, let's say we don't know even the artist, so we literally just have the painting.
Mhm.
Do you feel like you can't really judge if you like that painting, or it's incomplete?
It would be if we saw paintings. If there was going to be a comparison between human paintings and AI paintings,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be it might be difficult to tell the difference.
Okay, so right. So you'll agree with me there that we're gonna get to a point soon, if not already, where AI can make perfect replicas
Yeah.
of human art.
I think so.
You
yeah.
think that it feels like what you're saying is that humans are more creative than AI because the stories that we have, like the journey of our life,
Mhm.
is more creative than the AI's journey. Why couldn't the AI have a very creative, like heroic life journey?
I feel like with AI, because it doesn't AI is still built from someone else.
Okay.
So it still comes
But
from
don't we come from our parents?
we do come from our parents, a good point. But at the same time also, like we do come from our parents, but now we're talking about nurture versus nature, right? So like at the same time, if we're going into that realm, if we were the spawn of our parents and we had really like no I mean, now we're like we had like our life predestined out for us. That wouldn't make us unique. That's kind of what makes humans special. Where we come from our parents, we have our own thoughts, our own ideas. We're influenced by our parents, but we still can eventually become our own self identity.
Yeah,
later
but
down.
just to give like a little info about like what our brains and then these AI brains, right? Like, there's a lot of similarities. We're instantiated with some.
I think the art thing goes well with consciousness if you want to make it that.
Okay.
The creativity aspect.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll end that point, which I was just about to say. There's a lot of.
You can. If I think that one take is that if AI can't be conscious, it's inherently not a good artist.
Yeah. Okay. So what Max is saying, he's the camera person, is it does.
Do you think an AI could potentially be conscious?
Could an AI be conscious? Could a machine be conscious?
I think it's possible, but I go back to I think it's still in its infancy to really figure out if it can be or not.
Okay, so you don't know, maybe.
Maybe it's possible.
And let's say it could be.
Okay.
Like it could be. So it's capable of feeling and the highs of life, the lows of life. All of that. Maybe it's a little different than you, but maybe it's just very similar.
Yeah.
Could you now think like you could be very inspired by its journey?
That's
and its
now
art?
that is a little scary to think about. It's possible that I mean, I think now my bias is coming into play for that one because now what's happening is because we've created AI and essentially we're now playing God in a way where we're creating a new sentient being.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary.
That just feels like now you're just in the phase of
It's almost
That just-
disbelief.
that just seems insane.
Yeah.
Even if it's true, that we shouldn't even do that. Is that like where you're at there, or it's more just like that's freaky, but maybe like that doesn't.
I think it's one of those things where it feels, I mean, because now if we go back in time, it's like people when they talked about like creating the internet, how that was going to take over the world. It didn't. It's still kind of just what we use it as a tool. But with AI, I think it feels nerve-wracking because it's possible that we can if it's possible we can create a being, we can lose control of that being with this artificial intelligence that has endless access to information at like less than a second.
Okay, so now we're getting back to the extinction, which
Yeah.
you got it back, which is you do think this could be very powerful. It seems like now you're saying.
If it were again, and we are in its infancy, but if it were to become a sentient being,
Do you think? But it could be very powerful without being sentient. So why is the sentience to you specifically something that makes you think?
I think
That would make me more worried.
I think because at that point it now has a mind to think for itself, and
I mean,
can
it
create.
can still think. Like, have you used ChatGPT?
I've used ChatGPT.
You can run a loop of ChatGPT. Like, you can prompt one ChatGPT, and you can say, ChatGPT, you're the master ChatGPT. I'm going to give you 50 small little ChatGPTs, and your goal is to take over the world, right? You can say that to ChatGPT right now and give it a bunch of compute, and you can use like a heartbeat. Have you heard of a
I think
heartbeat?
it's still like a creativity thing, right? Is that
What?
your issue was more just like it's not being creative, even
Well,
if it's doing all
no, he's saying, what did you mean by have a mind of its own?
I guess really more having a mind of its own. It's where, because when we can still, ChatGPT still relies on information that it's pulling from for like data circuits and everything else too. And I guess for a mind of its own where it can remove itself from the internet and then it can actually begin making its own
Okay, I see
own
what you're saying.
decisions, where
So, yeah, no, you want to finish?
Yeah, more so in the fact where let's just say right now, if electricity around the entire world completely went extinct, AI would no longer be a real thing.
Yeah.
And so I think it comes to the point when it actually can leave that realm and it no longer needs the internet or power to be able to
Yeah.
survive.
So
now
there's-
now we're in a different area.
So there's a few different small misconceptions I think you have here about how AI works. I'm going to try to just
absolutely.
walk through them a little bit. So the AI does not need the internet.
Okay.
The AI, they do get data from the internet. They gather a bunch of data from books and the internet, and they use these words and pictures to train the AI. But once they train the AI, it turns into a big brain set of numbers that you can put on a storage drive, and you can run it with GPUs, computers, anywhere, internet or no internet. Now, it does often, when you use it on ChatGPT, search the internet for information, but it can actually answer way more questions than you think just in its own brain. So interestingly, for instance, the recent model Fable, which came out 2 weeks ago, the biggest brain to ever come out, its brain was so big that it actually knows like half of, not like half, but like, let's say 5% of America or 1% of America. Like, you can ask it about your family members, and if they have any internet presence, without searching the internet, it might know who they are. Like if they're a professor or a journalist, something like this, like it straight up probably know who they are. No internet.
That's wild.
Now, the electricity part, correct, right? Like that was completely correct, and it's a very good point. It lives in these data centers. It relies on the human supply chain of computing, right? It requires human derived energy. So there's no way, if like human society died, it would be able to keep itself alive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about humanoid robots.
Okay.
When do you think there's going to be 1 million humanoid robots with 100, like smarter than pretty much any humans, like 140, 150 IQ, with the same dexterity as human hands that can like walk around?
I think it's closer rather than later, but I don't know an exact time because I know that Tesla has put out humanoid robots. I know that there's other companies that have put out humanoid robots, but again, they still are in their infancy. I would say that's maybe not in my lifetime, but it might be within the next 2 to 3 lifetimes.
Okay. So let me, so I don't have an exact numbers from the experts here, but I would say from the people working on this stuff, think more like 15, 20 years, something like that. In fact, even really a little bit shorter, but a lot of their view is kind of insane. So let me walk you through it right now so you understand what the people in San Francisco think is going to happen. So they think we're going to reach something called artificial general intelligence around 2029, 2030. This is when machine is smarter than any human at any task. Some people already think that's come or will come in the next year or two, but they think it will pretty likely happen by 2030. Then, have you heard of the term recursive self-improvement?
I don't. Okay, so I've done some reading into the point of singularity. Is this similar to that?
Yes, it is. So recursive self-improvement is, I'm going to be a little reductive here, but the concept is basically when machines hit artificial general intelligence, they will be able to open their own brain, look at their own training, fully automate the software part of their training at least, and then quickly self-improve to a much higher place. Now, there's probably some cap, but it might be go from, Einstein to a double Einstein, like incomprehensible, not unhuman in terms of its understanding of the world.
Yeah.
Do you believe this could happen?
I think that I think based on currently where we are, I think it is very possible that can happen.
Okay, so let's say we hit AGI in 2030. A lot of them think when you get this recursive self-improvement loop, it might asymptote until new hardware comes in, but you might within weeks or months get this overhang. So let's say like 50 more IQ. So it'll go from just barely smarter than the smartest human to much smarter than the smartest human alive in a year. So in 2031, we'll have something smarter, much smarter than any human alive. And then I'll ask you first, do you think at that point that thing will be very good at building robotics factories?
That one I'm not sure. Again, it's possible, but I'm not positive I know how to answer that question.
That's a really hard question. I don't know the answer either. I think it's a very open question about industrial organization and factory design and supply chains. So would you agree? It's pretty unclear.
It's unclear. There's a lot of non-intelligence constraints, but there's a lot of intelligence constraints.
there's a lot of intelligence constraints there, but a lot of non-intelligence constraints. If you
Mhm.
believe it's more intelligence constraints, you might believe within 5 years after that, we're gonna get a bunch of factories that are able to produce these like very good humanoid robots. So let's say within 5 years, 5 years after that,
Mhm.
2036, we have 1 million humanoid robots that are super intelligent and can walk around and have hand dexterity.
Mhm.
How long do you think it will take to go from 1 million to 100 million?
I mean, at that point, if we already are at a million, it's the same thing with human population. I think it's possible that like if it's within 5 years, it could be within like 2 to 3.
2 to 3 more years to go to 100 million.
Mhm.
And then how many to a billion?
I mean, it's just like now we're talking about cell replication. So then it's just going to be like once you pretty much hit the curve of, I mean, again, once you hit that point of singularity, that specific instance, it just begins to exponentially increase.
So you could see the argument for all of this.
Yeah, there's a very strong
Given
argument.
like no political pushback.
Yeah, no pushback or anything. If it's purely just run free with it, do what you want, that's very, very, very possible that it could happen.
What do you think is going to happen if in 2037 there's 1 billion humanoid super intelligent robots?
I mean, at that point, I think with that many humanoids, we would potentially, I mean, there would be kind of like the argument, what's the reason for having humans? I mean, because at that moment, the argument for humans, even with I'm gonna just use Tesla's self-driving as an example. My friend just got a Tesla, and Tesla is smarter to be able to avoid human error because humans make mistakes when they're on the road.
Yeah.
Same with like when in like healthcare too. So in that sense, if there was that many humanoids and they were looking at humans, the argument could be made that we're self-destructive and we don't know exactly how to maintain our own species, that we would then become the inferior species.
And maybe they wouldn't kill us, but they would take control.
They would take control, and then, I mean, the hope is that we would still be able to at least live our lives, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, if that were the case, but that's that same feeling of, because we know that we have created something, then it's kind of like, well, at what point would that thing then turn against us? It's the
You
same
think
thing.
it could then turn against us?
I mean, look at wars between countries. It's like when you uplift a country, for instance, if you're kind of like, we'll use the United States as an example, where it's kind of like the police of the world.
Mhm.
They help uplift countries, but then at the same time, they can flip around and turn around and then just immediately decimate an entire economy.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's possible.
Things are possible. You're not sure. You definitely don't think it's gonna definitely turn around and kill us, but could see multiple
There's
situations happening.
So many different avenues.
and you
with that
could
one.
see loss of control happening
There could be exactly yeah.
around 10-15 years from now. Or does that seem a little soon for you?
It seems.
because
I mean,
your robotics timelines were
Charlie's
longer.
timeline's aggressive, but it's not like out of the world.
it's not out of the world. I think 10-15 years does seem really fast. I wouldn't write it off, but it does seem like that would be too quick.
But you could definitely see something like 30-40 years where we get this robotic scale up.
It's possible. I mean, again, 40 years still also seems aggressive too. This also just could
Okay.
be my bias coming through, or not my bias, my ignorance of saying it's not going to happen.
And this is mostly not about you thinking we are going to get to something much smarter than humans soon, but rather robotic scale up taking a long time, or maybe just not being super efficient. The economics might not work out. You just don't see the humanoid clone wars thing
Yeah.
happening soon.
I don't see it happening soon. I still think that there's enough pushback from the people the people of Earth, to not want it to become that much.
You think there will be
prominent.
political pushback before this
I
happens?
think
if
so.
Anything?
I mean, even Reno's a good example. There's a data center being built right now, and it's a big protest among the citizens of Reno,
Mhm.
and we're trying to prevent it from being built further and further.
And you think the will of the people is going to win out?
I am hopeful. I don't know if it will, but I at least think that it will slow down the process.
And you think the will of the people is that we want the people, on average, Americans want this slowed down?
I think they want it slowed down because I think it's that feeling that I think right now there's less checks and less balances on AI or the development of artificial
Take a step in your
Yeah,
face.
oh,
in the
thank you.
sun.
I think there's more. I think there's less pushback on the development of AI, and so I think that right now that's kind of where the human people of the United States don't necessarily can recognize that and don't want to go any further.
Okay. And what do you think? So you seem like you want to slow it down too. That's
I would like
true.
to slow it down.
Well,
Yeah.
how big of a political issue is it for you? Like, imagine two candidates.
Mhm.
One disagrees with you on most of your views, but is going to slow it down. The other agrees with you on most of your views, but is going to speed up artificial intelligence development.
It depends on some of the social issues, but I'd be if it came down, wow, that's a hard one too. because also I come from healthcare, so I also believe in healthcare. Okay, I'm going to start talking about some political beliefs. I believe in healthcare for all. So if I had a candidate that was saying no healthcare but slow down AI, and the other opponent saying yes to AI but no health. Wait, hold on.
Healthcare for all.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be almost more inclined to go with the one that says healthcare for all.
So it's not your number one issue.
It's not my number one
it's
issue.
maybe somewhere between 3 and 5.
It's up there, but it's not the one thing that keeps me up at night.
Okay. Good to know. Let's go through a few last questions. So let's imagine we do automate the entire economy, and we figured out UBI or UBE, so universal basic income or universal basic equity, where everyone's getting a good share, enough money to buy like a nice apartment, food, all the basic necessities plus some. But beyond that, you're totally allowed to slot into any job and work to contribute. Like but the robots are doing everything. They'll help you out. They'll be like, come chop the carrots if you want to, but you don't have to do anything. No one needs you, and everything will go on without you. How do you feel about that?
That is a very interesting question, because my friend and I recently talked about this, where when you look at science fiction novels, we're the one race, or actually, sorry, take it back. Let's even just go talking about whales. Whales and dolphins just play in the water, and we pretty much just do everything for them in a way. So I think at that point, if we had access to everything if we was more
leisurely
living, and you could work if you want to, that sounds pretty nice.
You would enjoy that life.
That sounds pretty great.
You would have a good time.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I mean, I would mountain bike, I'd dirt bike. I would just pretty much fill my time with other things. But also too, I come from the standpoint where I work as a nurse, right? And so if I had the option, I would want to contribute to society.
You would still work, 10, 30 hours.
Yeah,
30
I'd
hours
probably
a week
work
as a nurse.
like twice a week or something.
2 shifts.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'd spend 5 days. Just hanging out outdoors.
I'd just go back outside.
And like imagine too, there's like we've solved energy, so there's just like water taps everywhere. Like you can really just go anywhere in the world, and it's gonna be totally fine. That sounds pretty great to you.
I think for me, because now we're coming down back to the point where if AI was running the world, I think I'd still be in this mindset of I would just go up to the mountains and the hills and just pretty much keep to myself.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, because I think even like living in the larger cities, I like Reno because it's still a city, but it still has that small town feel.
Yeah.
I've lived in San Jose. I've lived near San Francisco, and whenever I've lived in Sacramento, living in large cities, I always find myself wanting to leave those cities more and more and go up to the hills.
Yeah. Who do you think you're gonna end up trusting more, the AI itself, or like let's say if there was a singular dictator in control of that AI?
I would trust the AI more rather than a singular dictator in control of the AI.
Okay. You would put your chips on the super intelligent AI to make things go well.
I would hope that would be the better idea, because at that point, at least they have more of a diversified agenda, whereas a singular dictator has his own agenda.
Okay.
And it could be whatever thoughts that he or she wants to do. The AI has the ability to think about everyone else's needs, not just the own AI's needs.
And even though it would be this kind of alien species that we wouldn't really understand, you would still feel like you'd rather have the unknown than the known bad.
I'd rather have the unknown than the known bad.
Okay. Any last thoughts here?
I think it's scary thinking about how AI is going to potentially become a big part of our lifestyle. I already see it happening. And I think that's what makes me the most nervous.
You're most scared about human culture.
I think I'm more scared because I feel like it's a new tool that we have just found, and we right now are not putting balances on ourselves. We just keep playing with it, and we just keep we're pretty much looking to see like how fast it can keep going.
I guess since we're on this topic, I did say we're ending, but 2 more things. One is deepfakes. What do we think about deepfakes?
I think those are really, really dangerous, and I think they're very harmful.
Should we just ban all deepfakes?
But I mean, how can you ban deepfakes?
Well, you can make it illegal, all right? You can't ban cracking down, enforcing might be tough.
I don't think you can, and that's why.
Like, you think it's a freedom of speech issue?
Yeah, that's what makes
I guess so.
Yeah, that's what makes it kind of scary, because again, if you're gonna have deep fakes, it's hard to tell what they are and like what actually is deep fake and what's not deep fake. And I think also now you're talking about, again, constitutional rights, like infringing on a freedom of speech to be able to put those out there.
Is porn First Amendment?
Porn is First Amendment.
Porn is a First Amendment right.
There's different rules, like you can't show it to children and shit like that.
Yeah, but the creation of porn, would the creation of porn be a constitutional right? You're not sure? Do you have any thoughts?
I know of some cases that we could look up.
What?
Thoughts about what?
on if porn is a First Amendment right.
I think it is, but I'm not sure.
Because AI porn is another thing on the horizon that feels like it could destroy society.
I think there was a recent article that I was reading about. It was talking about AI, and it was talking about we will within the next 5 years have AI girlfriends that we'll be cheating on our wives with, where it can be our partner, but all the good things about our partner, none of the bad things.
Yeah.
So now we're creating relationships with AI to avoid the hardships that we have with our loved ones.
Yeah, and it feels weird to say that an AI girlfriend would be a First Amendment right, but in some ways it is a generative act.
It technically is, yeah.
Having trouble over there?
We might need to end this.
Okay, we'll have to end this. Thank you for filming. Wait, don't press. Did you end it yet?
No.
Hold on. You got this. I'll take the camera. He's it's his first day at working out
Okay.
in a long time.
Yeah.
So let's also talk about what was I gonna say there? Super persuasion. Have you heard of super persuasion?
I've not heard of super persuasion. No.
It's sort of like, I kind of made it up, so you wouldn't have heard of it. But it's sort of like extreme propaganda or a continuation of what's going on with social media.
Okay.
Where like, with social media, if you like use the For You, I'm sorry that you have to watch that.
No, it's okay. I got something that I'm gonna give him to help him out a little bit.
He might. We probably need water, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
I'm gonna give you guys some electrolytes too.
We can end it here if that's okay.
Let's pause here.
All
Yeah.
right, pause.